sure the guys will do their best. Let's hope they find lots of spots and lots of hyenas, wild dogs, lions, maybe even a cheetah. Who knows? Maybe you'll see 3. What about that? But yeah, thanks for joining us, folks. I hope you've all enjoyed the discussions, especially around Love Africa Marketing and all those wonderful organizations that they represent. Go and have a look. And well, once again, we'll be back again at it tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So we hope to have you back once again and firing away with your questions and comments. And who knows what the African bush is going to bring to us once again. You never can tell. The only constant, as they say, is change. Well, that's it from me for now, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day, and especially the Sunset Safari. Bush greetings. Cheers.
Hello, and welcome everyone. My name is Amy, and of course, behind the camera with me is Mpho, and we are here to discuss the highlights of the last 24 hours. This is OnSafari. Now, today we have a lot of cool stuff in store for you. We've actually got 6 different clips to show you and discuss, as well as a little bit later on, we're going to be checking in with Cedric for his plans this afternoon. But to start off, my highlight from a rainy Juma yesterday was indeed a rhino that we found. And I am going to play you the clip from that, and then we are going to discuss it a little bit more. Did everybody hear that? Luanda, please tell me we got that. So as he leaned over his belly on this fallen over tree, there was some flatulence, to put it politely. Oh my word, that was so funny. I'm really trying to figure out what this rhino is doing. It's like he's licking the bark, or where he's put all this mud. And I'm not sure why. Maybe it's something to do with scent. I thought he was chewing initially, but I can see now that it looks like he's almost putting his lips on the bark. I don't know, tasting it, maybe rubbing his lips on there. Maybe they're a little bit itchy. I'm not sure. Yesterday, and just a reminder to all the viewers that this is of course live and interactive, so please do send through comments and questions as we go along. I'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on the sightings from yesterday and this morning, and let's chat about all the best parts of the last 24 hours. So with this rhino sighting, what I really found so funny there, and unfortunately I don't think we actually heard the noise that I was talking about, that we did live in the moment, but as that rhino sort of bent over that log, he obviously put a lot of pressure on his belly, and there was some air that was exited his rear end, and it was actually hilarious. And he did it not once but twice, and obviously just trying to really rub in all of the places that he could get to. And secondly, the behavior that we saw with that mouth was actually really interesting. And in the moment, I mentioned on the video that it may have something to do with scent. I also then thought about it. I was like, maybe he's actually licking up some of the mud, which is a practice we call geophagia, just to get some extra nutrients and minerals and that sort of thing from the mud itself. But I think that sort of lip pressing against and licking and sort of picking up some of his own scent, I think he was attracted to his own smell in that way. And that was just so awesome for me to be able to see a behavior that I actually hadn't seen a male rhino do before, which was very, very cool indeed. I see we do have a few questions that have come through, so I'm going to have a look here. Greg, you say that rhino was the cutest thing ever, a true gentle giant. Wasn't he just? I mean, I must say, to give you sort of the full picture, there was a lot happening in that moment. We had come around the corner and all of a sudden, it's like, there's a rhino. And he was completely covered in mud. And we weren't quite sure what his movements were going to be. He sort of walked one way and then turned around and moved the other way, and then he actually started moving directly towards us, and I looked at him, I was like, I think he's going to come out and cross the road. And we weren't live at the time, so I reversed the vehicle and sort of parked with my nose towards him as he was walking. Luckily there was a road behind us if there was ever anything, if he decided to run towards us or something like that. And then as he came out into the open, all of a sudden there was nothing between him and us. And he did this little like trot, and he looked at us, and I looked at him. I was like, I'm ready if we need to move. But fortunately, he just looked on out the side of his eye, trotted across the road, and went actually to that spot that we saw him, where eventually we got to go live on the end of the kids' drive and then begin the normal show and reposition and get that awesome angle for that rhino. Yellow Duck, you're asking, can rhinos get digestion issues? I'm sure they can. I suppose just like any animal, it's not something that I've particularly seen, but I've seen elephants, for example, with a runny tummy. Maybe they eat just too much green grass, or maybe they eat something a little bit that doesn't agree with them, maybe a different type of vegetation than what they've had before. Maybe they have a tummy bug, all those things are possible. Now, a little bit further on, we don't have it in the clip, but he does actually go to rub his horn as well, which is also typical practice of rhinos to do, and just part of, scratching around and cleaning up that area of their face. Also a territorial display sometimes as well. Now, we are going to go and check in with Cedric and see what his plans are for this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Amy, and a very good afternoon to everybody. Yes, my name is Cedric, and behind the camera with me on Rusty, we've got Panda. So, it is a nice fresh afternoon. It's a lot of cloud around. Luckily, there's no rain. And, we are celebrating World Water Day. So I'm hoping that we are going to find something at some of the dams. You never know. So we will go do a little bit of dam hopping this afternoon, as well as I think I'm going to try and see if Tlalamba, that beautiful leopardess, if she hasn't come north back into Djuma. And I'm hoping we can find her tracks. If we do, we can follow them, and you never know what we find out there. So I am excited for this afternoon, and I'm sure everybody else is excited. Panda and myself, we've got our snacks and supplies, and we are ready for OnSafari.
All right, everyone. I'm so glad to hear Cedric's plans, and also, of course, with it being World Water Day, that he goes and checks out some waterholes today and all the life that we get to see around them. Now, we are going to move on to do a little bit of how do I put this? Spider time. Last night, Cedric had an amazing sighting with a bark spider. So let's have a look, and then we can talk about it.
Late afternoon. Look at that. It's busy spinning. That is amazing. And it's huge. I'm so glad it's a meter away from me. This is amazing. And catching at night time, catching all the insects. So it's just preparing its web. So what it's doing now, it's climbing right up, and now it's got an anchor web that's pretty much dragged from one tree to the other tree. That's like more of a stronger web, and then now it's using that anchor web as an anchor, and now it's spinning the rest of the web from top to down, top to bottom, and then of course from side to side. And then it's got a nice little web for the evening. They are beautiful. They are really stunning, but watch it. It's amazing how they walk across that anchor web. Quick. And little deer, even a little raindrop on its abdomen there, and it's going down now again. And it'll do this every single day. Every day.
Well, how interesting was that, everyone? Wow. I mean, I actually haven't seen a bark spider doing that in a while. And so awesome that Cedric was able to capture that together with Panda for you all to see at home. And he actually mentioned something that I wanted to chat a little bit more about, and the fact that this specific spider rebuilds its web every evening. And it's something that I only have heard of the bark spider doing it in this area. And part of what it does is that it'll build its web in the evening, and then in the morning it actually eats its web again. And it's a very interesting behavior of this particular spider. And the reason that it does that is to do with getting back the energy and the nutrients that it lost by producing that silk. And it actually puts it back into its body. Producing silk is an extremely energy sapping exercise for a spider. It's pretty much its home, it's its life. All of its, most of the energy that it gets from consuming food is put into producing that silk, which is made of different nutrients and amino acids, which form this amazing substance, which is spider silk. So it is amazing that spider is able to actually consume it. Nina, you want to know if spiders ever run out of that silk? Not that I know of. I think what may happen is if they are not able to find enough food, then they won't have the amount of nutrients and enzymes that are required to be able to produce silk efficiently. That is what I would think would happen, the only time when a spider wouldn't be able to produce the silk that it needs. We actually had a visitor, everyone. I was trying not to lose my focus, but there was an Inyala that literally walked behind Mpho as we were talking, watching that segment just now, and it's gone off actually towards where we parked the vehicles. So just in case you saw me lose my focus slightly, I was trying very hard to focus on the camera there. But an interesting thing to see that and actually see it happening. You know, I've seen a bark spider on its web. I've seen in the past it creating its web, and then the next morning it's gone. But to actually see it busy like that yesterday evening was really, really cool. I enjoyed it a lot. All right, there are no other questions at the moment. But I'm excited for this afternoon. I know Cedric has his plans. He's also got a guest on the vehicle, which is lovely. But Mpho and I are also going to go out and see what is around some of the water holes and that sort of thing as well, which is going to be absolutely lovely. Now, coming up, we're actually going to do a little bit of birding. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to put my book here just so that it's ready so that we can show you guys a little bit more information of some of the birding that we actually did this morning, which I'm excited to share with you all as well. All right, everyone, we are going to now move into a little bit of birding and actually 2 highlights from this morning, which is fantastic. It's something that I think we didn't know if we were going to have too much content for OnSafari from this morning's drive, but it turns out actually there was quite a bit that we did get to see. So I'm just going to get this clip ready and then we are going to have a look at this beautiful red-backed shrike. This is a beautiful red-backed shrike, everyone, and he is just perched here at the end of the spike-thorn tree. And I can tell you it's a male because they're the ones with the specific coloration like this. The females look a little bit different. They're a lot more plain and have almost these little, what looks to be scales or little shadows of scales going down the front of the chest. Shrikes have quite a distinctive bill, and it's quite thick or rounded, and then it's got this little point at the end, hook at the end of it. And this bird is not here all year, it is a migrant, so we only see them now in our summertime. All right, and that was the shrike from this morning. Now, I mentioned in the clip that the females look a little bit different to the males. And what I want to do is actually show you in my bird book exactly what I'm talking about. So, Mpho, you can just let me know if this is fine. Yeah. Okay, cool. And we're focusing here in this corner. And this is, well, let me use this porcupine quill that is a little bit more specific to what I'm talking about. I don't have to use my clumsy finger. So this is the male. This is very much the bird that we saw on screen now. You can see that beautiful red on the back, the grey on top of the head, and then that black sort of eye stripe that I was talking about that runs all the way from the bill through the eye. And then this is the female just above. And you can see she also has a red back, but it's sort of the whole body is this sort of rufusy color. And then these are these little scales that I was talking about. They're not real scales. They're just a pattern marking, almost a little shadow U shape that form on the side of this, on the side of the body of the shrike. Now, I remember the first time that I saw a female red-backed shrike in the beginning of my birding days. I was so confused. I was like, what is this bird? I've never seen anything like it before. It looks so strange. And then it took, obviously going through the book and trying to ID, and of course people who knew a lot more about birds helping me to tell me. And then now once you know it, it's quite easy to see and spot out there in the bush. The other thing I mentioned in the clip was about the bill. And here, I'm going to try and show you what I mean. With the shrike's bill, it's thick there on the outside, and then there's this little tip right at the end. And that is what I'm talking about with that tiny little hooked beak at the end there. All right, we are going to move on to our next birding clip, everyone. And it is the beautiful bateleur that we had on top of a dead tree. Just have a look at that orange beak and face of this eagle. What a stunning bird. I think this has to be my favorite bird of prey. Oh my word, now we're doing a wing stretch. I was thinking of actually heading off very soon, but now we've got a little bit of action here at this bateleur. But I think maybe with all of that sort of shake out and the wing stretch, we may actually see this bird take off to the skies quite soon. Often what birds do, well, any birds, but particularly noticeable in birds of prey, is that before they take off, they'll actually make a poop. I've seen it countless times, often with tawny eagles, bateleurs. They'll make a poop and then fly off. Telltale sign that they're thinking of moving on. So we'll see what this bird does. But Chris, a martial eagle, and I think, oh wow, it's just moved to a beautiful new spot. Thank you very much. And now we can actually see the color on the legs as well. So he was thinking of moving, but not quite leaving just yet. And that was the bateleur from this morning. Now, we spent quite a bit of time with that bird, and it was lovely, and just the sunlight on him, and it was just amazing. And actually mentioned earlier in that sighting that usually we see them in a pair, particularly in that area. And as we drove away and were heading off towards Gowrie Dam, we passed a tree, and just on the right hand side of the road was the female perched opposite him. So she was there, she was just a little bit further away. Alright, so we have 2 more clips to go, everybody. I'm just going to get the next one ready. Nora, you want to know, do bateleurs develop red beaks once they are adults? Yes, that is correct. So what happens is that juvenile bateleurs are actually completely brown birds, and they only start to transition into adult coloration after 7 years. So it's a while till they get those beautiful feathers and that orange beak and legs that we associate with the bird. And the juveniles are often confused for warburgs, eagles, lesser spotted eagles, even brown snake eagles sometimes if you don't look carefully, maybe even a tawny eagle. But what's different about the bateleur, I think they've got a very different face shape, sort of a dark beady eye, and quite a large piece of light brown dark skin that comes from the bill all the way almost past the eye. So they have this, what we call a cere, which is quite large on the bateleur. So they don't have those beautiful colorations from birth into immediately. It's actually a little bit later on. Lucy, you want to know where you can buy a book of birds? Online. There's a few options for that, and I know that you can even get it at, if you are in South Africa, in some of the national park shops, they sell bird books, but online, there's a few online shops that will definitely have it, or your local bookstore or something like that. They're not too difficult to get hold of. But a bird book is important, and it is a great tool to use, that as well as a birding app. When it comes to birding apps, I personally like to use the Roberts app. I've also got the Roberts book. That's what I enjoy the illustrations in the Roberts. There's a few different options for bird books, and each person has their own preference. But I find the Roberts book has, for me, really nice illustrations of what the bird looks like. Quite a few different options in terms of what a juvenile looks like, a female, a male out of breeding plumage, that sort of thing. And then also a male in breeding plumage, some of the morphs that you can get. So you really are well covered with that particular birding book if you would like to get hold of one, Lucy. Stephen, you say there are so many colors on that bateleur. There are, if you actually look more carefully. It's very true. Like I said, even when you had a close-up of that bill, there was the fading, almost an ombre effect of the red into the orange, even lighter orange, and then the black right on the tip of the bill there. All right, we are going to take a look at the next clip, everyone.
It hasn't been digested and it has been passed through. And now these two Natal spurfowls are at a buffet at the moment. A nice selection of grass seeds, and they are loving it. You can imagine, you can see that even the dung is getting chucked aside. Loving it. Don't you like this, Jordan? This is amazing. I know Jordan's enjoying this.
Well, how sweet was that? Those spurfowls all there in the elephant dung pecking away. And it is a behavior that we see quite often from things like spurfowls, francolins, even guinea fowls that enjoy looking for little bits of grub within the elephant dung, even bits of seed as well. They actually can eat quite a variety of different things. Now, the last clip today is actually from Africam. And we are going to take a look at some visitors that came to Oldonyo Lodge last night. Well, I'm going to have to pause it there because our time is almost up. But what an incredible clip. Oh my word. There were there was a lion drinking there, and then a buffalo. There's a giraffe in the background, and it ends up that the buffalo actually chases off the lions from drinking. But that lion was extremely skinny, I must say. He does need a good meal. Unfortunately, I don't think they're strong enough to take down a buffalo at this point. Sasha, you sending us some cat luck today. Thank you so much. We are looking forward to getting out there very, very soon and looking for cats of our own. So thank you so much to everyone for tuning into OnSafari. And Mpho and I are itching to go and jump on the vehicle and get out there and join Cedric and see what all we can find this afternoon. It has gotten a little bit more overcast, which is lovely, but hopefully the day's heated up enough and some of the animals will be out to say hello. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining. Thank you for your comments and your questions as well. And we will see you out there in the wild.